guys, and welcome to Odds on Champions League match day 2. Let's analyze the games we have on Wednesday with Dani and Alvaro, of course. Hello, guys.
Ciao.
And we have many interesting things. So, guys, of course, comment the video with us. Don't forget to press the like and subscribe. And now let's jump into the games, starting with Group E, with the game between Milan and Dinamo Zagreb. And this group is very interesting, Dani, after the results we saw in the first match day, because the two big clubs couldn't win. With Milan, we kind of expected that they could drop points against Salzburg because the Austrian team is strong at home. But Dani, this Milan is getting the results in this first part of the season. Although they are not playing great against Sampdoria in Genova, they were kind of lucky. They suffered a lot to get the 3 points. And after the disappointments of last season in the Champions League, this game is a must win for Pioli's men.
Yeah, I agree with you. There is pressure on Milan to progress from the group because they are the champions of Italy. And, they are still unbeaten this season, although they concede more goals than last year. They struggle to keep a clean sheet. But as you said rightly, against Sampdoria, they had the backs against the wall, down with 10 men because of the sending off of Leao, 1-1. And in the end, with a penalty, they still managed to win. They won a little bit ugly, but that's the spirit and the character that Milan have shown in the last couple of years. So what happened against Salzburg, I think they suffered the high intensity, the high rhythm, the high press, something that maybe not every team in Italy put them through. But in the end, they could have won because Leao hit the post. So really, write them off at your peril. The issue with Milan is a few injuries, obviously up front, no Rebic, no Origi, so it's always the same players playing. Perhaps they might feel a little bit tired. And at the back, now that Simon Kjær is coming back from his injury, he's being given a little bit more minutes. I wonder whether Pioli can give a little bit more chances in midfield to a player like Adli, coming from Bordeaux, with a very creative midfield. We'll see a little bit more of Pobega. Look, it's all about the rotation or the lack of rotation in this case. But I think for this one, Milan are obviously strongly favorites, but be careful with Dinamo Zagreb, because as we often say, very few teams in the Champions League, they cannot score against you. And I think actually Dinamo Zagreb is one of those that actually can and score a couple of goals. They got brilliant players. Milan are very favorites. So if I go on the Asian handicap market, I see Dinamo Zagreb Asian handicap plus 1.5, which sounds to me great, also because it pays 202. So I go for that one. If Milan win with only one goal margin, you win the stake. How good is that?
Milan usually don't trust teams, Alvaro, and Dinamo Zagreb, as we also expected. They put a great fight, of course, against Chelsea, and they have quality players like Orsic.
Well, Orsic has scored in the last 3 games, so be careful with this guy. His career journey is picturesque, to say the least, because he passed by Japan for a little while when he was at the peak of his career, in my opinion, when he was 21, 22, 23, until he was 28. And, then he came back to Croatia and he kept on scoring goals after a very good spell in Japanese football. I think that against Chelsea, Orsic scored a beautiful goal because it wasn't easy to run against Fofana and just keep the composure, keep the balance, and then just do that, dink the ball a little bit over the goalkeeper. I think Dinamo Zagreb is not a bad team. They haven't lost for a while now. They haven't lost since the Champions League qualifier. That was against Bodo Glimt. And they are producing competitive performances. Whether this is going to be enough to beat an AC Milan that obviously is eager to get the 3 points, because after this, let's don't forget, this game is very important for AC Milan, because if they don't win this time, then they are playing back-to-back games with Chelsea. So it should be very important to get there with 4 points rather than 1 or 2, because otherwise you may see yourself in match day 5 after playing against Chelsea with little options of qualifying or having to do the homework in the last 2 days of the competition. So Daniele has broken down Milan very well. For this game, well, there are a few options that I like here. Like, for example, I'm going to say that Milan is favorite. I do believe that AC Milan is going to win this. So Milan to win the first half, I like it, 177. And a derivation of that, halftime, full-time, Milan, meaning that Milan wins the first half and keeps the the win in the second half. That pays 187. I like this one too. And if you like the individual markets, well, Orsic to score or assist, in my opinion, is a bargain, because normally you get like a little money for these kind of things, but to score or assist for Orsic, 4.5.
And the massive surprise we saw in the first match day was Chelsea losing to Dinamo Zagreb, what meant Tuchel getting sacked. We didn't have football in the UK this weekend, so we haven't seen Graham Potter's first game in charge of Chelsea. Alvaro, we don't know what to expect in this new Chelsea with Graham Potter, but even with Tuchel, at least at home, suffering is true, but they were getting the results. Let's see if they can do it against Salzburg.
Well, this is a sentence of appreciation for Thomas Tuchel. I think that his job at Chelsea was fantastic, and Chelsea last season were 2 penalty shootouts away from getting a domestic cup double. They lost to Liverpool in both finals, but in the penalty shootout, and they were leading Real Madrid at Santiago Bernabeu 3-0, you remember, Edu, until Rodrigo and Modric, or Modric and Rodrigo, keeping the right order, produced the combination of the season, for me at least. That pass from Luka Modric to Rodrigo and that volley into the net. I think that when Thomas Tuchel arrived in Chelsea, he quickly understood that the template was there for him to follow, which was playing with 3 centre-back. I think that Graham Potter is going to do the same thing with Chelsea, because at Brighton he has done it, and it has worked for him. And I think that Chelsea is a better side with 3 centre-backs. The thing with them is that the centre-backs are still adapting, obviously. Koulibaly, Fofana, whoever plays alongside them, they don't have many minutes together. So this is costing Chelsea a little bit, but the problems are bigger than all that. I think that they don't score many goals, and in midfield, they are missing a lot N'Golo Kanté because he hasn't been very fit over the last 12 months. I think that Chelsea has a difference maker for the season who can be Aubameyang, not because he plays in a very flashy way, but because he scores simple goals. And this is something that Chelsea has been lacking with Kai Havertz, Timo Werner. And you go back in time and you find many strikers who haven't been able to score many goals apart from Diego Costa in 2017. So, I'm going to say that Chelsea is a little bit of a mystery for me right now, but I think that Graham Potter is not going to change anything massively ahead of this game. And when it comes to Salzburg, well, they got a decent result in the first round, drawing with AC Milan. In fact, they were scoring first, and then Milan managed to get the equalizer after 12 minutes. This weekend they won as well. They are leading their league, but this is not a novelty, obviously. So for this game, I could go, and I will go, actually, for both teams to score, 173, because Chelsea so far has been leaky. And Chelsea to win the first half is something that I like here as well, 186.
I go for the same, both teams to score. When I check, it was 189, so the odds must have gone down. Right. And I think it makes sense because Chelsea need a reaction, but they play against a very good yet very young team, Salzburg, which have a very strong rhythm. So I think the fact that they didn't play at the weekend helps Chelsea, helps Graham Potter just getting settled a little bit more, but obviously will be still work in progress. What is Potter going to bring to Chelsea? I think a little bit of a calmer approach. Probably he's got a lesser ego than Tuchel, but he's not inferior in terms of coaching and footballing intelligence. He has a little bit of international experience on his side, not much, but he played the Europa League with Östersund in 2018, and he was able almost to beat Arsenal, managed by Arsene Wenger back then. Chelsea produced a lot of individual mistakes against Dinamo Zagreb, so they need to cut those down. And they will have better chances against Salzburg, but I'm expecting a tough game for them. Normally, Chelsea at home in the group stage of the Champions League is good. They only lost one of the last 20 games, so they normally negotiate them pretty well, and they never lost in the Champions League the first 2 games in a row. So I'm expecting them to bounce back. As I said, I think having a rest at the weekend helps them. Probably will cause problem further down the lines with fixture congestion, but for now, it's a blessing in disguise. Both to score for Chelsea Salzburg, when I checked, was 189, obviously. Now the odds have come down a little bit.
And so 180 now.
180, okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Right now.
Check in Oddspedia always. And Salzburg, last season they were bad also when they played away. They drew 1 game and they lost 3 in the Champions League. So it's a young team and they are not great when they are traveling in Europe. Next group, Group F, here we had also a massive surprise because Shakhtar Donetsk, with all the problems in Ukraine, they were able to thrash 1-4 Leipzig, hitting them in the counter-attack. Dani, now they are playing Celtic, a team that lost 0-3 against Real Madrid, but they played well in the first half. They had some chances, so perhaps we see an entertaining game, a lot of goals in this Shakhtar Celtic.
It's going to be played in Warsaw, obviously. So the home crowd will be behind Shakhtar Donetsk, who's, by the way, the second youngest team of the competition. There were 6 players, 23 or under with Leipzig. It was a great display. It was a smash and grab a little bit because they had 4 shots on target, 4 goals, 37% possession. Some of the goals were individual mistakes by Leipzig, like the first one was a gift by Gulaksic. But, Shakhtar stuck to the task. They didn't go gung-ho, and they knew how to counterattack very quickly with Shved and Munich. Has to be admired. We probably brought them off way too early. I mean, I gave them an Asian handicap +2 in the previous show. They didn't need it. They won the game. But this is a team that lost 15 players from last season, most of them the foreigners, and yet they've scored more goals after one game than what they did in the previous campaign. So there is obviously something very good going behind the scene. They won at the weekend as well, 2-1. But now with Celtic, I think they face an opposition that is not going to go in attack, is not going to press them that high. I think Celtic are going to be a little bit more cautious on this one. And I'm not expecting too many goals. I know the markets expect them a load of goals here, but perhaps it could be a game where the technical ability of Celtic could prevail, not necessarily in a goal fest. But I'm saying that because the odds for under 2.75 goals are good. They pays 2. So if you go under 2.75 goals, if there are 3 goals in the game, you lose half your stake.
It's a difficult game to predict, in my opinion, and the bookies are giving Celtic the favoritism, even Alvaro, if the Scottish team usually travel badly also in Europe.
That's the thing. This game, paraphrasing our friend Radek, it would be a pass to my standards, really. It's very difficult, this one, and I tell you why. Daniele has referred to Celtic's bigger technical ability, and that sentence makes sense now. A year ago, it wouldn't make any sense because Shakhtar Donetsk was one of the most technically gifted teams in Eastern Europe, definitely. And there are some numbers to vote what I'm saying. Number one, last season, Shakhtar was in the Champions League, the first team in passing accuracy. I referred in the previous show about Santiago Bernabeu and how Real Madrid was chasing the ball, but Shakhtar was holding it, hiding it, keeping it. And I repeat again, last season they were the first team in the Champions League in passing accuracy over the best sides in the world, and they were the 6th side in possession. Well, the team has changed so much. It has been dismantled so badly that not only Shakhtar Donetsk is trying to make an appeal to the court of arbitration of sport to be able to have like a different type of window for them to sign someone, but also Shakhtar this season, they started the Champions League in their maiden game having just a 36% possession and an 83 passing accuracy, 83% in comparison to the 90-something% passing accuracy they had last season. The Brazilians are gone. In a nutshell, that is what happened to Shakhtar. So, this is a very different side. I don't know how circumstantial it is, the fact that they won the first game. I really don't know. And for me, it's very difficult to predict them. It is very difficult because I don't know if what they did the first time is going to be a one-off or it's going to be the beginning of something. So this game could be a pass, as I said before, or maybe a Celtic to win, because I did like what they did against Real Madrid, especially for 45 minutes. Real Madrid then was vastly superior in the second half. Yes, they were. But maybe Celtic to win just because they give me more reassurances. Simple as that. 2.28, but otherwise this is a big pass for me.
And the next game in this group is Real Madrid, RB Leipzig. And I'm surprised to see, I would say, good odds for Real Madrid to win at home. Right now it's 1.57, especially Alvaro, after the great start of Ancelotti's men this season. It's hard to remember a Real Madrid as good as reliable as this one is, not even with Zinedine Zidane, in my opinion. Even every man coming from the bench is doing a great job. In the absence of Karim Benzema, Rodrigo is also stepping up. Perhaps, of course, we are still waiting from Hazard, because he played also very poorly at the weekend in that 4-1 victory against Mallorca, and playing at home against this RB Leipzig. That is true that they beat Dortmund, but when they are playing away, Alvaro, they are awful, especially in the Bundesliga. So, of course, we have the game last season, Real Madrid Sheriff, was exactly match day 2, but I would expect Real Madrid to win even comfortably, in my opinion.
I do as well, and I expect the player to keep on making the difference. Vinicius Junior. Vinicius to score or assist, pace 173. By the way, his goal against Mallorca is better than it looks like. His goal against Mallorca, believe me when I'm telling you, because with that ball control, he automatically passed himself the ball to the right foot to score. He did a 5-meter acceleration, which was impossible for the defender to chase. And that goal of Vinicius was overshadowed by the super goal that Rodrigo scored and the goal of Fede Valverde. Oof. Of course, the Fede Valverde goal is beautiful. Oof. Rodrigo's goal perhaps is more complex because the spaces were tighter. But Vinicius' goal was very good as well. I mean, we have to start just updating our own mental records with a few players. I mean, maybe Messi, maybe Ronaldo are not up there with the best right now. And we have to start putting that in the charts. The likes of Fede Valverde. By the way, Fede Valverde is a player that I criticized a lot at the beginning of his career because I thought that he was running more than playing, if that makes sense. But now he has become a superlative footballer and has to be said. And Vinicius Junior is one of the best wingers in the world. One of the best wingers in the world. I mean, there is no way around it. I mean, he's scoring many goals. He's making the difference. He's dribbling past many players. He's taking responsibilities. He can operate autonomously aside from Karim Benzema. So, yeah, this Real Madrid is looking very good. And the players that are coming from the bench are performing as well. I think that Carlo Ancelotti is going to work with a short squad this season, maybe 17 players are going to have plenty of playing time, and the rest they are going to be more peripheral. But it's working so far. They haven't lost this season. And I think that for Leipzig, this is going to be very difficult. I'm sure that Leipzig are going to have opportunities here and there during the game. But we have seen that Real Madrid, normally in the second halves, tends to win the games and to kill it. So for this game, I'm going to go for the following. By the way, Real Madrid, leader of passing accuracy in the Champions League so far. They have played only one game, but there you go as well. So, you know, the midfield is working very well, even with Tchouaméni, who is a newcomer. I will go for Vinicius to score or assist, as I said before, and Real Madrid to win and over 2.5 goals. So a small combination in there. 191.
I like the over 2.5 goals. Let's talk about Leipzig. Obviously, they sacked Domenico Tedesco after the defeat against Shakhtar. They appointed Marco Rose, hometown boy. He's from Leipzig. And, you know, against Shakhtar, and it worked because at the weekend they won 3-0 against Dortmund, Leipzig. What happened against Shakhtar, I think they were a little bit naive. They left themselves a little bit too exposed. They played with 3 attackers together, Wenger, Nkunku, and Andre Silva. I don't know, they made a bit of changes to his back four. After the first goal, which was a mistake by Gulaxis, as we said, they were a bit unlucky, but also they lacked character and couldn't react. What is not working with this Leipzig is very difficult to say because it's the same team with the addition of Werner. At the weekend, they were really good, beating 3-0 Dortmund. Maybe they need a little bit more of stability. After all, this is the third manager in less than a year after Jesse Marsch and Tedesco. Perhaps what didn't work is that when they sold Upamecano two summers ago, they didn't bring a good replacement, and that's why they're suffering a little bit at the back. Now it comes Rose, who comes with a very good CV. He's one of the youngest and better managers in Germany, but last season with Borussia Dortmund, things didn't go very well. He was in a very easy group with Sporting Club de Portugal, and he finished third. Then he crashed out of the Europa League with Rangers. Maybe the expectation of Borussia Dortmund were so high, but things didn't work out. He needs to address the defense of Leipzig. Leipzig got a lot of power up front, they're going to score. They think they're going to score at the Bernabeu, but it's about not conceding and not playing such a high line. Only 2 clean sheets in the last 8 for Leipzig. Also, Real Madrid defensively, maybe not great. Only 2 clean sheets in the last 7, but they're going to dominate this game. Both to score in a high-scoring game. So both to score and over 2.5 goals. Put it together, 247.
Every single Real Madrid game in La Liga, so both teams to score. So, of course, why not with all the quality Leipzig have up front. Group G, we have Copenhagen, Sevilla, with very good odds actually for Sevilla to win if you are brave enough to trust Lopetegui's men when they are traveling in Europe. Finally, they got themselves a victory in La Liga and was away 2-3 against Espanyol. Lopetegui probably, Dani, saved the job, and it's a good time to go to Copenhagen, not only because it's a beautiful city and it's not cold yet, but because they are not in a great moment.
No, 3 defeats in the last 4. They conceded 8. I think it will be enough for Sevilla to beat them, even for this Sevilla, which we saw thrashed by Manchester City, and not great at the weekend either. Very unbalanced Sevilla at the moment. Copenhagen never beaten a Spanish team in Europe, so that tells you how different is the class between these two, although they haven't met many times. Borussia were just much better, better team overall. Copenhagen did okay in the first 20 minutes of the game, then a couple of individual mistakes cost them a total mismatch. It seems to me the history of a team that is new in the Champions League against teams that are much more experienced and play in stronger leagues with nothing to take away from Copenhagen. I don't think they're going to finish even in the Europa League position. I like the odds for Sevilla to win. They're so good. 216 for an away win. I'm going to trust them in this case.
If Sevilla want to have a chance to qualify, Alvaro, this is a must win, of course.
It is a must win, and I agree with Daniele. I'm going to go plain and simple for that. I think that there is not a massive prediction to do here, or there is no point in going for some complicated arithmetics in this game. I think Sevilla has to win this game. If they want to qualify through this group, they have to get 6 points against Copenhagen. Last season in the Champions League, they suffered away from home. They were more than disappointing. But I think at this time, they're going to do it. Lopetegui saved a match ball this weekend by beating Espanyol 3-2 with 2 goals, by the way, from an academy product like Carmona. Sevilla has a good academy, but lately I don't think they have had many academy products in the team. So it's good news, of course, to see like a young player like Carmona scoring goals. Lamela scored for Sevilla in a game that at the end it was tough for them because they had to defend their 3-0 lead, and Espanyol got themselves back in the game, and Sevilla could only win 3-2. Anyway, all that said, I think that Sevilla has lost the defensive stability, yes, because they have lost the 2 starting centre-backs from last season. I think that Sevilla is slow for the Champions League. The football that has been played in Europe lately is faster than the Sevilla's average pace, but I think that they've got enough to beat Copenhagen at Copenhagen. So Sevilla to win, as Daniel said, 2-15.
I wouldn't trust them that much, to be honest. And the next game in this group is Man City, Borussia Dortmund, of course. The name in this game is Haaland, scoring freely in Man City, both in the Champions League and in the Premier League. They had a good rest in the weekend in this very tough calendar. So, Alvaro, I guess we should expect Man City to storm Borussia Dortmund after also that 3-0 defeat in Leipzig.
Yeah, that was a very heavy one for Borussia Dortmund and difficult to handle, probably. I mean, Borussia Dortmund, at the end of the day, they have to identify games like against RB Leipzig, like those must win pretty much to make sure that they qualify second, at least in the Bundesliga. But right now, Borussia is 5th in the German Bundesliga, and their numbers are not great because they have scored only 8 goals in 6 games, which is not a lot. And this is obviously the Erling Haaland factor. I mean, you don't lose a player who has scored 86 goals in 89 games for your club and automatically replace him with someone who can do that. Or it reminds me a little bit of Cristiano Ronaldo when he left Real Madrid in 2018. Do you remember that there was this demand from supporters for every player to put some more goals than normal in order to cover and compensate Cristiano Ronaldo's goals. Well, it didn't work exactly like that. It was difficult, and Karim Benzema had to step up, but a season or two after Cristiano Ronaldo left. With Erling Haaland, obviously, it's so difficult to replace so many goals. On top of that, Manchester City is rested, and this can be a problem, I guess, for Borussia Dortmund as well. City is playing at home. At home, they've been phenomenal this season. Not only Haaland has been good, but Kevin De Bruyne has created the connection with Erling Haaland, which tells you about the intelligence of this footballer. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne has already found Erling Haaland in the games more than I had expected by this point this season. Obviously, it's early into the season. We're not even in mid-September. And Jack Grealish as well played very well against Sevilla in the last game. Pep Guardiola praised him too. So, I think that is a good moment for Manchester City. Edin Terzic side can suffer here at the Etihad. So I could go for an Asian handicap -2 for Manchester City. I like this one, 184. And there is another one which is, if I think about it, maybe a slightly more speculative than an Asian handicap -2 for Manchester City, because Manchester City could kill the game in the second half heavily. But Manchester City to win at 30 minutes, as they did against Sevilla, 191, is not too bad either. It's not too bad.
I like it. I think Manchester City, they blew Sevilla apart completely. And you're right. The fact that they are rested, it helps them, because otherwise they would have played Spurs at the weekend. So a tough game, and they come into this one much more rested. So Guardiola doesn't have to make so many rotations. We talked about Haaland. He scored 25 goals in 20 Champions League appearances, already 12 goals in 7 games for Manchester City. But what I liked about his game at Sevilla, he only had 19 touches in all the game. So he's very clinical. The goals were not beautiful. They were tap-ins inside the 6-yard box, but he's got that to his game as well. He knows where the opportunity is. He knows where the space is. And, he plays with probably the best teammates he could ever had to score a lot of goals. But against Sevilla, also Manchester City showed us the composure, shows us the game plan. They are very good in playing from the back. Akanji fitted in very well, and I think it's going to be a good addition, especially when Laporte is not there. He will help them bring the ball forward a little bit more. So yes, no doubt about it, Manchester City are going to qualify from this group stage after 4 games. They'll have probably 12 points, and that will be it. That will help them a lot in this very tough season. What to say about Dortmund? They were much stronger than Copenhagen. They normally are a scoring team in the Champions League. They only failed to score once in the last 17 Champions League games, but of course they had Haaland. Let's see what they do. They're normally very good at home. They score plenty at home. Away, recently they've been a little bit stuttering. I know the markets here, the bookies expect a lot of goals to be a goal fest, but I don't see it that way. I think Manchester City could dominate the game, score a couple maybe in the first half, and then maybe put the foot off the gas, if you like, making some changes, making those rotations that they haven't done at the weekend, obviously, because they had no game. But when I say low scoring game, I imagine a game with 3 goals, all on the side of Man City. So if you go for under 3.5 goals, which, in Champions League is still a big score, 207.
Group H, another unbalanced game here. Maccabi Haifa, PSG. We have odds 25 for Maccabi Haifa to win this game. Dani, these odds are absolutely crazy. They made their first game in the Champions League was a defeat in Duluth, 2-0 to Benfica. PSG has Neymar as the best player right now in Ligue 1. Also, he scored the winner against Brest. How many goals can we expect from PSG here in Israel?
I think definitely a couple in the first half, because they're gonna start the game as strong as they did against Juventus. Look, Maccabi Haifa, the lowest ranked team in the Champions League at the moment. They lost all their 7 Champions League group stage games, 10-0 overall. The question is how they're going to approach it, because I think against Benfica, because they're a very physical side, Maccabi Haifa, they pushed the line high, they pressed high, they had some chances with Pierrot, but that made them a little bit vulnerable at the back. I think in the end, Benfica could have scored more. They had chances really to wrap it up 3 or 4-0. Let's see, because if they wait for PSG to attack them, they're gonna be out of the game after 20-25 minutes. I think it's really about striking the balance. It's really about how experienced these players are going to be in this sort of stage, and I don't think they got loads of experiences. I mean, you have to go for an Asian handicap here to find a value, and maybe the value is on an Asian handicap -1 for PSG in the first half, 187. So to replicate what they did against Juventus. The only concern I have with PSG, not for this game, is for other games, is sometimes they switch off, they take the foot off the gas, they start not passing the ball to each other, but it will improve. It's only September, so maybe let's not draw too many conclusions. Asian handicap, -1 in the first half for PSG, 187.
And Maccabi Haifa didn't score in the group stage the last time they played Champions League. They played at home against Bayern and Juve. Alvaro was a 0-3 for Bayern, 0-1 for Juve.
Yeah, they haven't scored this time either so far because they lost 2-0 against Benfica. It's a difficult, they couldn't be in a worse group, really. I mean, they are playing PSG, Juve, and Benfica, and it's so difficult for them. I can understand that they have done a very good Champions League qualifying round, but if PSG takes it seriously, and I'm going to link up a little bit with what Daniele said, then PSG is going to be too much for Maccabi, because Daniele was referring, and rightly so, I believe, to the fact that maybe PSG, if they score like a couple of goals in the first half, perhaps they will slack off a little bit, or I don't want to use that term, that word, but maybe they just don't go as strongly as in the first half, and then this may affect the result in favor of Maccabi a little bit, at least, But on the other hand, there is a player over there, like Kylian Mbappe, who is on fire in the Champions League. The other day he scored 2 goals, Erling Haaland scored 2 goals, Lewandowski scored 3. So there is a very nice battle as well for the Champions League top scorer, and maybe Mbappe's individual agenda can be something that makes him be particularly pepped for this game. So I like Mbappe to score 2 goals or more in this game, and it pays actually a lot, 3.5. He did it. He did it a week ago in his game against Juventus. So why not to think that Mbappe can score 2 goals here? And I also like the PSG to score 2 or more second half goals, 167, but that if the attacking trio takes it seriously, obviously, as Daniele said. But yeah, Mbappe to score 2 goals or more is my favorite one here, 3.5.
Let's see if Mbappe and Neymar pass the ball to each other. And the last game is a very interesting one. Juve, Benfica. Be careful here for Juve, because we saw a very poor old lady at the weekend against Salernitana, especially in the first half, Alvaro, and we know how strong this Benfica can be. They are top of the table in the Portuguese league, and they kick out Barcelona last season in the group stage.
Yes, they did. And this Juventus side obviously doesn't offer many assurances. Juve drew 2-2 with Salernitana in the weekend, and that was a crazy game, game closing for Milic, I believe, right?
Yes.
Because he got the goal disallowed, and then he was sent off, and blah, blah, blah. So it's not a good moment for Juve. In fact, if you check Juventus numbers this season, they have won only 2 games. They have beaten Sassuolo. They have beaten Spezia. Benfica is completely different right now. I'm not saying that Benfica are going to be favourite for this game because they are playing away from home, but Benfica's start of the season has been very impressive too. Not only they have won in the Champions League, which they should have because they were playing against Maccabi Haifa, but also they have played 11 games and they have as many wins, 11 as well. They are closing the gap with Sven-Goran Eriksson's start with Benfica at the beginning of the 80s. That Benfica got 15 wins in a row in the first 15 games. There are things that are working for Benfica. Obviously, I think Rafa Silva is playing fantastically, a player that I really like here, and hopefully he will be in the World Cup. But generally speaking, I think that it's been a very good start for them. This weekend, Benfica beat Marítimo 6-0. Obviously, we know that it's not easy to translate the home form, especially from Portugal, to the Champions League. All that said, Juventus is not in a good place right now, so I'm going to go for both teams to score because Benfica is scoring many, 172.
This is the game that the Allegri targeted 2 weeks ago when he said that this is the one we have to win and not the one against PSG. But, it's very difficult to break down Juventus. First half against Salernitana, awful. lack of organization. Salernitana really organized. They knew what they had to do. Second half of Juventus against Salernitana, much more passion, much more drive. I'm sure the halftime talk of Allegri worked. In the end, they could have won it, didn't deserve to win it. Very chaotic. Juventus is still not playing well. They didn't look like they've got a game plan. I don't think the formation 4-4-2 is the right for them. They need to play at the moment 3 at the back, as they did in Paris. I think it works better. They got the man, especially in defense, in midfield, and the 2 wing backs, Kostic and Cuadrado. They have to be wing backs, and I think they'll have much more joy there. And up front, always Milik and Vlahovic to help each other. But they come from Paris with a little bit more pride restored, knowing that they can still put out a fight. They can still have players with some international experience that can really trouble teams in the Champions League. It's about finding the belief and obviously playing a little bit more on the front foot. The lack of number of chances they created is appalling. And, everyone is responsible, not just Vlahovic for not getting the services, but also the Serbian sometimes has to do a little bit more effort. But football is weird. Juventus come here in a very strange state. I think they'll win it. I think they'll win this one. I like 2-15. They probably scrape it. Juventus win. And I agree with Alvaro, both to score. So I go over 2.5 goals. So you can go either Juventus to win it, 2.15, over 2.5 goals, 185, or put them together. Juventus will need a couple of goals to win this one. So yeah.
Okay, Dani, tell me your safe bet for these Wednesday games.
Real Madrid, Leipzig, over 2.5 goals, 150.
Yours, Alvaro?
Real Madrid to win, 151.
Okay, let's go to Bernabeu. And your ACCA, we nailed the ACCA, remember, last week. So let's try again. Dani?
Chelsea win, Manchester City as an handicap -1, Copenhagen, Sevilla, over 2 goals, Juve to score the first goal, odds 4.79.
And Alvaro?
Sevilla to win, Asian handicap -1.5 for Manchester City. Real Madrid to win, Vinicius to score or assist, 8.64.
Okay, if you are looking for Rangers Napoli, also to be played on Wednesday, remember it's going to be analyzed in the Tuesday games with their group. So guys, thanks for watching us. Remember to comment the video and subscribe. Of course, let's enjoy the Champions League. Bye-bye.